Hello, and welcome everyone to the SIVO Insights Forum. Today's discussion topic is Bridging the Gap, Translating Insights into Meaningful Business Impact. Let's talk about the future of the insights industry. As you look to the future, how do you see the role of insights evolving in driving business strategy and growth?
Eliana, do you want to start?
Oh, yes, I want to start because I do think this is one where you get a lot of provocative headlines out there that is like, oh, this is gonna die, or I don't think the insights role and organizations I think are going to continue to thrive in the context that we are. And here's the reason why: because there is first so much data and so much information that curating through that and seeing what's meaningful and what do I really need to know and what's truthful too, which is very important. It's a really hard thing to do. And again, while we might have tools that can help us get there faster, I think that's a quality that it's going to exist in the organizations for a really long time. Understanding that why, I don't think any robot today can tell you that. And it's about explaining, and in our world, we're explaining people. And there's complexity and contradiction in what people do, and we have to bring that clarity to the business. So much data, so many things to curate through, like what is true and what do I really need to know? So we play a big role on doing that, and connecting the dots, right? What are these things that are connected truly that I need to care about? And so I think we will continue to thrive if you're focusing your career on that instead of on all the tools. What I'm excited about, though, of all the changes is that for me, all these tools will allow us to liberate a bit of that thinking time and hopefully get to that answer and that question and that discovery faster or even better or even in a more predictive way, right? And so and that's what's exciting to me, right? Because we always say like, oh my God, how much time do you have to spend designing a questionnaire? Well, if I can have an AI agent that can build me a starter questionnaire, it's not going to be perfect. You're still going to have to massage it. Oh my God, how much time I save there to be able to put that thinking time and invest my time on building the connections of the work that we're doing, right? So in that essence, it does excite me. And then also the advancements we have, obviously, in the analytics and the modeling world, where you can get much more highly predictive on trying to understand consumers' behavior. You still need to bring the context and the why, because models are very blunt and they tell you this is what's going to happen and this is what it is. And a business leader is going to be like, but why? Because in the why is where you're going to get the idea, right? And so because a lot of the role that we do is to inspire ideas. And to inspire ideas, it requires more than a machine, believe me. So I have more than confidence that this function is more needed than ever. But that we will have the better tools to do what we do in a more excellent and faster way too. So
great framing. Yeah.
I love that. And I couldn't agree more. And I think one of the things I really love about what you said, Eliana, is that consumers are evolving, right? And they're evolving faster and in more different ways than ever before. So our function has become more important than ever before. But the other part of what I loved about what you said was this future forward look. And that if we're going to be impactful and not just interesting, it's about pushing our business into the future. And, sometimes we could think about it like, okay, if we're the insights function, and we're all driving in a car, we have a couple tools to understand what's happening around us. One of those is the rearview mirror, right? And we have to look at where we've been and how we've gotten here, because that's important to know. And we have lots of tools historically to do that. But the other tool that we have to use in this car is the windshield, right? And it's about where are we going and what are the obstacles ahead and how are we going to get there and what else is out there in front of us. And you think about like one versus the other. The rearview mirror is about this big, but the windshield is like this big. And so as our function evolves, I think you're 100%, I'm in alignment and agreement that it's about what's ahead, knowing where we've been, but really pushing us forward to navigate the future and all of the changes that are going to continue to come. And so a job never done, but also a job ever important.
Yeah, and by the
Great.
way, none of us have a crystal ball. If we had a crystal ball, none of us would be here. I always say that. But I do think one skill that I want to, and I love that analogy, Elizabeth. And I do think one skill that we need to evolve is there's never going to be a perfect answer. And because of how much change there is in the world, and how much things you need to, and how much uncertainty and things are moving all the time, I think a new sort of muscle that our function needs to build a bit more is scenario thinking. And what that means is saying, like, putting different pieces together of what multiple scenarios are possible or plausible for the future, and how the different insights inform those different scenarios, as a way to make sure that you're thinking about all the possibilities, not just giving the one answer. Because I know many of us sometimes get those calls, and I used to actually have an actual physical crystal ball when I led the Foresights team. That I would be like, wait, let me get my crystal ball to see if I can figure it out. No one has that. So, but I do think it's a new muscle for us to develop. And I love your analogy, Elizabeth, about the windshield.
Yeah, me too. And I love the scenario too, so that it kind of, manages the risk of having to know that answer and having that crystal ball, which we don't have. Yeah. Thank you, Eliana. Khary, what would you add?
It's going to evolve. Inevitably is going to evolve. And if you just think back over the short history of, the last 20 years, we went from phone recruiting to everything's going online. We're going to lose jobs, and it's not going to be as good. And we came to things of, we're using eye tracking, and then went to system 1 versus system 2. They're all just iterations of how we're evolving, and they all have their uses and they all have their needs. But we can't distract from what's going to be the core. Like, there's some things that we just need to keep the basics, and understand where you can keep building upon and challenging and exploring new things. And so right now that iteration is AI ML. And there's a lot of great things we can do with it. It becomes a very great tool. I'm very excited. I think I see 2 places where research plays a part. I think one, it very much can be used as a tool and a capability for us. Eliana said, write my screeners and discussion guides, get them to 80%, and then we're going to come in, we're going to put a fine eye on it, we're going to give it a human touch and make sure it's meeting our needs. But we just cut down a lot of time. We create some efficiencies. Use your LLM to go through all the open ends and verbatims. We produce a massive amount of unstructured data with the type of work we do. Why are we having people kind of go through that? There are more better user-friendly programs and platforms, and LLMs are helping you do that. But I also think research plays and can play a very important role in building models. I think one can help you understand where models should go, like where are those unmet needs and preferences, and how we can build into those with a lot of our different research resources and even our conversations. But I think we can also be a very good diagnoser of the performances being driven by the models, right? And so I think there are different parts where it's definitely a tool for us, makes us more efficient. We can be a very helpful input to the work that's being done, but we can also help diagnose the performance of what was happening from the AI-driven work and some of that modeling work. So this is our next thing to work through and bring in and use it to our advantage and make an impact on it. But there's going to be something else 5 years from now, 3 years from now. And so just keep taking them in, learn, be curious, the way we should be as insights professionals. And we're just going to continue to see those things thrive and how we can make impacts differently to the business.
Love it.